Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're going over this Makita half-inch hammer drill driver subcompact lineup, and it comes in black. We're gonna go over this tool top to bottom, see how it stacks up against other tools on the market. Stick with us. So this right here is Makita's subcompact half-inch hammer drill driver model number XPH11. And we're gonna go over that real quick, just the lineup stuff, right? So most manufacturers will have, like an 18 volt slash 20 volt max lineup and 12 volt lineup, right? So Makita does also have a 12 volt lineup. They call that like the CXT lineup, but they also have this subcompact lineup in their 18 volt, right? So in their 18 volt, they have their regular stuff, or most manufacturers have their regular stuff, heavy duty stuff, compact stuff. So Makita does have a compact lineup, but under that, they have a subcompact lineup, and the main idea behind that is to eat at the 12 volt market, or get the use cases of that 12 volt market without leaving the 18 volt platform. So Makita has a ton of stuff on their 18 volt platform, and all of their standard 5 amp hour heavy duty batteries will work on their 18 volt tools, but they also have 1.5 or 2.5 or 2.0 amp hour batteries that work on those tools to really make the tools as light and compact as possible, but still not be in a different battery platform, if that makes sense, right? So, and all of the subcompact tools come in black, and that is what we're talking about today. So like I said, this one right here is the XPH11. Do not get it confused with this one right here, which is the XFD11. So these two drills are pretty much exactly the same, except the XPH11 has the hammer drill function, and the XFD11 does not have the hammer drill function. That is the primary difference between these two. I'm going to tell you right now that these drills have been replaced with a Gen 2 model called the XPH15 and the XFD15. We don't really have those right now, but those are fairly new, so we're just going to go ahead and talk about these here real quick, okay? So that's what we have with this, but before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and take a look at the marketing hype. So this right here is Makita's XPH11. It is ideal for working in tight spaces. Has a 2-speed manual variable transmission that goes up to 0 to 500 on 1 and 0 to 1700 on high. On a BPM side, it has a 0 to 7500 BPM and 0 to 25,000 BPM for a wide range of drilling and fastening applications. Has a dual LED light, has a brushless motor that delivers up to 350 inch-pounds of maximum torque, and the brushless motor eliminates carbon brushes, allowing it, to run cooler and more efficient, longer life, and all that kind of fun stuff. The brushless motor is electronically controlled, just like all brushless motors are, and has extreme protection technology, XPT, which Makita trademarked that term, to resist dust and water on harsh job site conditions. According to the marketing hype, the maximum capacity in steel is half-inch, maximum capacity on wood is 1 7/16 of an inch, maximum capacity on masonry is 1/2 inch or half-inch, right? And the overall length of the tool right now is 6 and 5/16 of an inch, and with the 2.0 amp hour battery, it weighs in at a whopping 2.9 pounds. That is fairly light, because if you look at some of the other major manufacturer drills or whatnot on the market, some of their batteries will weigh more than 2.9 pounds. All right, so obviously this right here is the left side of the drill. Standard Makita stuff going on. If you know anything about Makita tools, just holding it's just going to be straight up, Makita feeling. And like most of the stuff, this is probably one of the only tool manufacturers that has everything in all black, right? But a lot of the rubbery overmold stuff, where you would expect it to be rubber overmold, would be the rubber part, and the other rubber parts like here, things like that, are like hard plastic, okay? Usually most people say, all the black stuff is rubber overmold. You can't say that about this drill, mainly because this drill is coming in all black, okay? So like I said, standard belt clip you would have here. That belt clip is reversible, and you could put it also on the other side in case you were, wanting to have it on the other side for whatever reason you wanted. But other than that, that's what's really going on here. Standard switch here, not too much. The thing I'm going to point out right now is that this handle is actually, really ergonomically comfortable, I guess you could say, in a way, because unlike other tools in the 12 volt lineup that most manufacturers have, most manufacturers in the 12-volt lineup use like a stick pack, right? So something like this from Milwaukee would be a prime example. And if you use a stick pack, if you look at the difference here, you can't make the handle really that ergonomic, mainly because this stick pack of a battery really takes up a lot of space, right? So if you look at it from this one right here is the Milwaukee 2404 12-volt model, half-inch hammer drill driver. If you just look at it from this point, let me stick this battery up there so you can get a better view at it, right? Just look at the handle size there. Yes, I know, get all your jokes out the way or whatnot. You can see, you know, the smaller one is obviously easier to hold, I think, for most people. And that way, I'm just going to point out that that handle is much more ergonomic on the Makita model because it can't do that. There is another company that does make, you know, 12-volt models in their non-stick pack design, which would be like the DeWalt stuff. But we're not here to talk about that today. So anyways, that's what's really going on right there. On the back side, pretty much straightforward. You know, all it really does is a brushless spot for a lanyard, as most drills really have, and a 2.0 amp hour battery pack. You know, has like a battery fuel gauge on that side. On the right side of the drill, pretty much standard stuff. Not too much going on here. On some parts of it, like here, you really say it's like brushless here, brushless here, brushless here, just in case you didn't know your tool was brushless. But other than that, that's what's really going on here. Not too many thrills, no frills, right? So let's talk about the front part here real quick. On the front part right here, it has a dual LED. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you have it in two spots. It means it has two diodes right here, so it makes it actually a little bit brighter in terms of the area that's illuminating. Some people may not appreciate that, but you know, it's much better than having just one, right? So that's obviously very nice. Also on the front part right here, you can talk about this right here is the chuck. And this is a half-inch chuck made by Makita, 1.5 to 13 millimeter, or if you want to do in inches, 1/16 to half inch. And this chuck is pretty much all plastic. And almost all the time, you know, most people are going to complain about chucks being plastic, but if you use it too much, you know, it usually doesn't have too much of a problem for like light duty use. If you're doing heavy duty use, yes, you probably will have a problem with this, mainly because if you're always like rubbing up against, you know, stuff like drilling up close on this, a lot of knurling will run off, and this will be easy to, you know, not have too much to grip on, right? So I did want to point out it is a plastic chuck. And I will point out also, because mainly they're going for weight savings, they went with the plastic, I would assume. Most drills, or high-class drills or heavy-duty drills, will most likely have a metal chuck. But that's what's going on there, right? Standard chuck from Makita. Doesn't actually say if it's made in China or Japan or whatnot. At least I wasn't able to find that anywhere, but that's what it really says. So on the top part here, you have what you would consider two color rings, right? One color ring for clutch mode settings. So this clutch mode setting goes all the way from 1, right, all the way to 20, and a second color ring to select your drill mode, right? So this is screwdriver mode, drill mode, hammer mode. And just we'll show you, as we do on most drills with, you know, clutches, we'll set this all the way to 1 and figure out how long it takes, or roughly how much threshold, not scientifically, before it really cuts out. So it's not really as light as, you know, like their XPH11 or any of that, but it is, you know, pretty simple, right? Not too much frills going on there. Top part also has, you know, gear 1 or a gear 2 setting. Sometimes it gets really stiff to switch settings, but that's, you know, if you get a lot of drywall dust in there, it'll have problems. Variable speed trigger, and it does work pretty well. We'll go here on mode 1, right? Mode 2. All right, guys, so hope you caught those numbers because those numbers really did not go by very fast. And a lot of times I was really afraid it wasn't actually going to complete the challenge, right? So anyways, let's go ahead and take a recap. So this XPH11 we ran with a 2 amp hour battery because mainly that's what you would get it with if you buy it as a kit. And on the 5/16 inch lag test, first run 7.35 seconds, peak torque 127. Second run 7.30 seconds, peak torque 126. Third run 7.02 seconds, peak torque 115. Wow, those numbers are pretty consistent, I guess you could say. It did have to do it on speed 1, could not do it on speed 2 like most other drills we've recently been testing. And if you average out the 3 runs, comes in at 7.22 seconds with a peak torque average of 122.67. Moving on to half inch by 8 inch lag test. First run did not finish, peak torque 176. Second run did not finish, peak torque 174. Third run did not finish, peak torque 169. So those numbers are, very close, as you would expect. It did have to do it on speed 1, but it really doesn't matter because, it didn't finish. If you average out the 3 runs, peak torque average comes around 173 inch-pounds. Moving on to 3/4 inch auger test. First run 22.17 seconds, second run 21.59 seconds. It did have to do it on speed 1, unlike most of the other drills. And if you average out the 2 runs, the average time comes out to 21.88 seconds. That's double digits. That's actually, very slow. Moving on to the 1/4 inch masonry test. This is a hammer drill, as we talked about earlier. First run 9.11 seconds, second run 7.44 seconds, third run 8.11 seconds. Peak torque average comes out to 8.2, or I'm sorry, the average of 3 runs comes in at 8.22 seconds. I'm going to stop right there and just take a breather real quick minute because I did want to point out that, we had this drill quite a bit, but we have not used it on hammer drilling mode a lot. Actually, I would say probably almost never, because when we're doing hammer drilling stuff, we don't reach for this drill. There's, SDS drills that we would use for. So, I'm going to go ahead and say as an operator, we did not apply. It was very difficult to apply even pressure every 3 runs, mainly because the feedback that you're getting from this tool when you are using it in hammer drill mode is quite severe in terms of there is no dampening or any kind of system that it feels like you're feeling pretty much every single impact really poorly, and you're going to feel it throughout your bone. Just want to point that out. So a lot of operator error probably involved in that one, but did want to go ahead and point that out because, it's not very consistent. Peak torque that we've measured across all the tests that we did with this device was around 176 inch-pounds, okay? And this tool, kitted with a 2 amp hour battery, will weigh in at a whopping 2 pounds, 15.9 ounces. That's really like 2.99 pounds, right? So with that being said, that's actually fairly light because if you would think, some of the tool batteries that you would see on the market actually weigh more than this entire, workable thing. So that's something interesting to point out. So the peak torque number, how do we get that? We take, the average, the sum of the averages of the 5/6 inch, the half inch, and the 3/4 inch auger test. We do not include the masonry test, but the peak torque average number for this, or peak total performance number for this drill with this battery comes in at 29.10 with a did not finish. So where does that put that? That puts this drill currently in 17th place, right behind the Makita XPH12, which had a 26.4 and did not finish, and right in front of like the Ryobi PSDD01, which pretty much like all the way down on the leaderboard, right? So it is a subcompact drill, so that's pretty expected. So this drill is actually sold as a kit with this battery, and now it's probably a good time to tell you, nobody sent this to us. We've had this for quite a bit. We actually went out and bought this with our own money a long time ago, with one of their kit deals or whatnot. So why am I telling you that? Mainly because it's sold as a kit, but the reason I'm telling you that is because we actually tested it with this 5 amp hour battery because, we like to see how much of a difference or how power hungry is the drill in heavy duty, applications with a bigger battery that can provide more power. So let's go take a look at what the numbers say. First run, 5/16 inch lag test, 7.23 seconds, peak torque 151. Second run, 7.02 seconds, peak torque 132. Third run, 6.55 seconds, peak torque 129. It still had to complete that challenge on speed 1, could not do it on speed 2. And the average of 3 runs comes at 6.93 seconds with a peak torque average of 137.33. Bam. Obviously, right off the back, you can already see every test so far that we've done, just a little bit more power is provided by the 5 amp hour battery. On the half inch by 8 inch lag test, first run did not finish, peak torque 173. Second run did not finish, peak torque 172. Third run did not finish, peak torque 169. It obviously did it on speed 1, but it doesn't really matter because it did not finish, and the average of 3 runs comes in at 171.33. Moving on, 3/4 inch under test. First run, 19.45 seconds. Second run, 19.48 seconds. Oh, very consistent. It did do it on speed 1, and the average in 2 runs comes in at 19.47 seconds. Wow, actually I can really just look at out the entire line and say, wow, a lot of the tests was really consistent with this drill. I guess you could really expect something like that. Moving on to the 1/4 inch masonry test. First run, 6.18 seconds. Second run, 6.24 seconds. Third run, 6.11 seconds. Averaging the 3 runs comes in at 6.18 seconds. And the peak torque measured across all the tests that we did with this drill comes in right around 173 inch-pounds. So this drill kitted with a 5 amp hour battery will weigh in at a whopping 3 pounds, 2.9 ounces. That's actually fairly light. Like I said, it's a subcompact model, so that's what you would expect. So the total performance number of this drill with the 5 amp hour battery comes in at 26.40 seconds, and it did not finish, which means it puts this drill in 17th place and pushes the 2 amp hour kit combination back down to pretty much, I guess you could say, 18th place if you wanted to say. So 16th place, it's literally right in front, or tied, I guess you could say, with the Makita XPH12, which is their standard size 18-volt model compact lineup, which also had a 26.4, but that one had a 5/16 inch lag, test average of 7.12, whereas the 5 amp hour battery with this drill had a average right around 6.93. 6.93, 7.12, that's really close margin of error. You could really argue that. Others tests are, also pretty similar. But anyways, if you look at all the numbers, this drill does, with the 5 amp hour battery, does perform just a hair better, than the XPH12. But if you take the total performance number, it really comes out to be the same. So that's what we can really say about that. So let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. So this drill compared to the XPH12, the XPH12 is a little bit bigger, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you just by using them enough is that this is the one you really want to get if you are going to reach for it, mainly because it's lighter. It does perform just a hair better, not that you would ever really notice the difference between those two, but if you're going to be doing a lot of production drill mode, you probably want the XPH12 because that one can handle a lot more before it overheats in a way, right? But if you're doing that much, I would really encourage you to buy something else instead of these, because this is not going to be the right setup for you with that. So what can we really say about that? Let's close out with this, this drill. The reason we did it like this, like I said, we bought this drill, no one sent this to us. You can buy it as a kit, or you can buy it as a tool only. Right now, if you buy this one as, it's still sold, because a lot of places still have it, will go for right around $219-ish as a kit. And for just a tool only, you could find them somewhere around like $99-ish, depending on where you find it from. But I would encourage you not to buy this one, mainly because they have a newer model out. Buy the XPH15 if you can, unless you're just buying this because it's on clearance and you can find a really great deal on it by any means. So what can we say about this? It's a great tool. It's a great tool. It's pretty much designed to compete with 12-volt lineup stuff, and you can do it with being in the 18-volt lineup platform, right? So most people that I know, and even the contractors and some of the people that we work with, nobody is fully committed. Actually, no, there's one person, take that away. Not everybody's really fully committed to being in one battery platform, right? There's always some tool that you need, whether it's corded or it's a battery powered, that you're going to have. That's not, all your tools are not going to be, all completely in one platform or even one manufacturer, right? So the fact that Makita went as far as to, try to make a 12-volt type tool in their 18-volt platform is great, because you can accomplish that, right? But most people will have either an M18 and an M12, or like, a dual 20-volt max versus like a 12-volt max or something like that, right? So it's great that you can do that, but like I said, it's not absolutely necessary. But if you want to do that, this is actually really great to do. Other thing I pointed out earlier, like I said, was we did actually have the M12 model a lot that we reached out for, quite a bit. Let's say like for this one here, right? We used this one quite a lot before we got this one, but after we got this one, we definitely find ourselves reaching for this one more, mainly because it does seem to be a lot more ergonomic. And in case you wanted to look at, how tall it was, it's a little bit shorter than this M12 model, right? What do you call it? The Makita will be a little bit taller in a certain way, right? But if you look at the peak height, It's not really fair because we're using a 4 amp hour battery comparison. I know someone's going to point that out. So we use this 12 amp hour or 2 amp hour battery comparison, right? So even with the 2 amp hour battery comparison, it doesn't change, you know, the length of the drill, right? But, or actually, this doesn't change the length of the drill, but, you know, it will change the height a little bit. But is that really a big difference, right? If you're trying to measure, you know, sure, the M12 is a little bit lighter or shorter, yeah, I guess you could say. But, you know, it actually peaks up here, so it's really close to the same, right? So to maybe, what it may be with your own, but like I said, people with smaller hands or whatnot, I definitely find the Makita being a lot more ergonomic. And, you know, just trying to balance this thing like this is just really awkward, but most people just put it down like so. All right, so let's close this out. What can we say? This is a great drill. The numbers will have to tell you, or numbers, I'm just here to tell you numbers, and you can really decide, is this drill for you, right? Only you can decide that, depending on your application and your preferences. So, like I said, hope this video helped you guys. If it doesn't, let me know. If it does, I guess you can let me know too. But otherwise, have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time.